Hey y'all, it's your girl Byrd here, and we are back with another episode of Byrd Talk. So, if you are joining us live, make sure that you are letting us know who you are, where you're coming from in the chat box so that we know that you are here. We want to make sure that this is an interactive space and we are having a conversation with one another. If you are also in this room and you feel like there is someone who would benefit from this session, make sure to tag them in the room. As I mentioned, welcome to Byrd Talk. This is where we are aligning ourselves with our creativity. And here is where we connect, we create, and we build. For those of you all who don't know me, my name is Heather Byrd, and I am the founder and creator of Byrd's World, where we inspire and transform lives through creativity. And what I do is I help folks who have ideas really move into action and get out of their heads so that they can birth their badass story, blog, book, idea, dream, and more with confidence. That's the important part. We want to make sure that we are putting processes in place to be our best selves. Y'all, today, I am beyond excited to bring to the virtual stage my girl, Brigitte Brown Jackson, who is a leadership strategist, right? Before I bring her up, let me tell y'all, Brigitte and I have been working together side by side on a weekly basis since November. We were accountability partner. November, like what? We were accountability partners for Elisa Nichols' program called Ignite. And what we are building now, what we are doing in our individual lives is just so exciting. So I can't wait to share this space with you all. Brigitte, I'm going to bring you on up to the stage. Tell the folks who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself. Welcome to Byrd Talk.
I am so excited to finally be here. This has been some months in planning, and so I'm so excited. My name is Brigitte Brown Jackson, and I am, as she said, an extreme execution coach and leadership strategist. I'm a certified DISC consultant, so I help people, especially women who are dissatisfied, disgruntled, and all those other discs that sometimes come. I help them with the disc, which is a behavior assessment, understand themselves clearly so that they can walk out their purpose better. I struggled sometimes with that leadership. It wasn't always easy because people, Heather, wanted me to be something that I wasn't. And when I discovered that's not me, I'm going to be authentically me, then I could really be in, as you say, in my jam. I could, do what I did best. And so that's what I help women do. Don't allow people to try to change you. You can uniquely do whatever your job is, whatever your task is, and be totally who you are when you know who you are. And so that's what I help people do.
And when I tell you, I have seen firsthand Brigitte just kind of walk me through my strengths. I took my DISC assessment and we had our session where she kind of went over my results. And when I tell you, so many doors just opened for me, like so many light bulbs went off when I realized that I had language to associate what I was going through or the discomfort or the reason why I did a certain thing. Like it all made sense. So I'm just so happy that you were in my life. Brigitte also has a special place in my heart because she is also a former educator, a former principal, and educators. Y'all know that you all have a special place in my heart because the job that you all do is usually not celebrated enough. Like I remember when I realized that my mother made less than someone who collected garbage. Like it was that specific job. When I realized that garbage collectors made more than teachers, I was like 7 years old and I went on like a week-long rant about how teachers are the whole reason why you can even collect garbage. And what about the doctor? Like I did not understand it. So you all are underappreciated, but I know the amount of work that you all put in for your students and for just people in general. And so I am just forever thankful for you and who you are.
That.
And what
but you know what? People had a good COVID taught a very valuable lesson.
Ooh, boy,
I had a lot of parents calling me talking about, do you homeschool? No, I do not homeschool. And that's not what homeschool is. Homeschool means they stay at home with you, and the school or whoever the institution provides information for you to school them.
Yes.
That's what homeschooling is. But no, seriously, on a serious note, literally a lot of people, became able to appreciate what educators do as they
Yes.
saw that day to day is not an easy thing.
Not at
And
all.
some
Not at
people that
all.
have a few kids, just imagine having 27. And in some of these very urban districts or even rural districts that don't have all of that money allocation, they can sometimes have 30, 40 kids in a classroom. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't. Ooh, that's too many. That's too many folks on a daily basis from the school day. That's a lot. And teachers, I think a lot of people forget how creative educators need to be in order to engage their students. And so I'm really curious about, like, is there a time where you were like super proud of a moment where you were like super creative in the classroom or with your school that you could
Oh, yeah.
share with folks to remind them how creativity can not only be on the page or having to be someone who is an who draws or an illustrator
Mhm.
or who is good with words, but you can also be creative in the classroom. What does that look like?
Yes, yes. Well, girl, creativity is my thing. That's your thing. So we talk about that.
A
I
lot.
love that part about me. I was a teacher when I first became a teacher. I was in a school district outside of Flint, Michigan. We call it Beecher. And so it was really amazing because I started there. So the same school that I started kindergarten, I actually got my first job at. And so it
Mm,
was amazing to be able to go back and to serve. But one of the things that I was able to do, some of the children had not left our area. And so some of our children were not exposed to a lot of things. And so my thing was to get them exposed to everything. So I created
mm,
this writing club after school. And that's how Panther in the Sky, my children's book, came into existence. I wrote that the first year of my writing club to show them how to write. And then, I made me a makeshift book and everything. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get this published. And then I never published it. But
it's
it
not.
came out
It's not too
2019.
late.
It
Right.
did 50 years
Yeah.
later. 27 years later, it got
Right.
published. But the point that I'm trying to make is that creativity part.
Mm-hmm.
I allowed them, some of them didn't like to write, but they like to draw. And
Mm-hmm.
some of them like to speak. And so I combined all of them. We started this writing club and we started creating things that they could turn around and sell. So we turned it into a business. And
Yes.
so they made calendars, and then we had poetry inside the calendars. They had a cookbook, and then we had all of these wonderful different recipes. And because we were urban, we did some soul food recipes in there.
Hey.
And then we had this magazine that we created that was on the topic of rainforest. I had the rainforest actually come in,
Hmm.
and then they interviewed some of the people, they researched, they made this magazine. We literally sent it off to a local printer here. And that might seem like, nothing nowadays, but I'm talking about this was 25 years ago.
Yeah,
This was
that's
amazing
huge.
25 years ago because people weren't doing print on demand.
Right.
And sent it to a local printer that did newsprint because they did like the advertisement for grocery stores and stuff. So they
Mm-hmm.
made this color magazine for me, and the kids sold it. And then we
Mm.
have an island here in Michigan called Mackinac Island, and with the proceeds, they got a chance to go to Mackinac Island. Again, many of them had not been out of their communities, their
Yeah.
area. Farthest they went was maybe an hour away, and they were able to go spend the night, and we had an overnight stay. And I'm not talking about no older kids. I'm talking about little kids. They were like
Mm-hmm.
second through fourth grade. Like they
Mm.
were young kids. And so they got a chance to use their imagination. So they did articles, they did research, they did poetry. I mean, you name it, any type of writing, they had all the genres. Some of them did a poem, acrostics, and they had
Yeah.
puzzles and things in it. So I let them, whatever they chose to do, whichever genre form they wanted to do, they got a chance to do. And so that was one of them. But I love that. I've done a lot of unique things with adults too, but my heart, as you can see, the smile, it come out when it come with the kids. I love
Yeah.
working with children because I want them to know at a young age they can do any and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they do not have to be an adult. And so my campaign right now is getting young people, younger than 10 years old, especially, but I work with all children, but I'm really trying to get those young students to understand and know you can be a published author now. You don't
Yes.
have to wait until you're 18. You don't have to wait till
Oh.
you're like me and your several
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, I should go decades. No.
Counting in tens. Look, that is so important because I remember I was going back in my memory vault and
Uh-huh.
trying to figure out when is the first time I really started writing, and I started thinking about when I first started writing poetry. And for me, I remember when that click happened for me when I was in seventh grade. I hated poetry up until that point, and then I was given an assignment from one of my teachers, and then something just literally clicked for me, and I could not stop writing in rhythm. But it
Uh-huh.
actually started before that in terms of me writing.
Wow.
I published my first book. Well, not published. I wrote my first book when I was 6 years old. I was in first grade participating in the young authors competition. And I had a chance to travel to Springfield and meet Patricia McLaughlin. And
Oh
she
wow.
told me I needed to publish this book. But
Uh-huh.
back then, like you said, we weren't exposed to and we didn't have this print on demand opportunity the way that we do now. And so I didn't really know as a 6 year old how to move forward with that. And so my mom's like, you should revisit that. And so giving, students as young as what'd you say, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, like little kids, not sixth grade is not little, but like giving students the opportunity to actually know how to
Yes.
move their work forward and how to put it into the world.
Yes.
uh uh my heart,
Yeah.
like that is everything.
And the
um
great thing about that though, Heather, was several of those students became authors, including my daughter. So
yes.
my daughter, when she was in high school, she joined this literary guild. And she would drive. We lived in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and she would drive over to Detroit. It was about a 45-minute drive one way
Mm-hmm.
in high school.
Yeah.
And she would go every week to help build her craft. And then
Mm.
um, her senior year, she wrote a book and she published it. And again, we're talking about like now everybody and their mama is publishing books. But then there was no KDP, there was
Yes.
no InstaSpark, there was no print on demand companies like it is now that
Yeah.
everybody has access. She did this like she was one of the trailblazers. And I got mad because I hadn't published my book. I was like, wait a minute, she is not getting ready to beat me. So the great thing is that, you put that down on the inside of them and they can. And so out of
Yeah.
that group overall, I had a little bit over 50 kids in and out um that I had dealt with that stayed regularly. I had about 100 kids, but the
Yeah.
50 of them stayed. I did it for 6 years
Oh,
and many of them stayed, and my daughter being one of them, but there were some others. 5 of them actually became authors when they became adults.
that when I tell you that seed that you were planting, I had a happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday. Keisha, I gotta get you on here actually. We gonna have a bird talk together soon. Um yeah, planting that seed so early is
Mhm.
is just so important. I had a chance to reconnect with one of my principals because my mom is a former educator, was in she taught for 40 years, and principal had my mom call me on FaceTime, and when I saw her face,
Oh,
everything lit
wow.
up because I was remembering the amount of creativity that she was able to provide for us when we were younger. Like we used to have all sort of um classes that we took, like arts and crafts and dance classes, and like that actually helped our brain do
Yes.
better in school because of having that platform. So I'm definitely grateful for it. So we know you are passionate about education.
Very much.
Tell us some more about like what other things are you passionate about?
Again, right now I'm so very passionate with people achieving like right now I'm in a 5-day vision and goals challenge. So I'm very passionate about people living out their dreams and goals, but then being able to do it
Mm-hmm.
and to have the right recipe to do it. I didn't have everything that I needed. And I will say all the time to people that I fell through the cracks.
Mm.
And I don't want people to fall through the cracks. So I became a coach to help people in that area. So no, we're not going to, do the same thing and repeat the same mistakes. So let me show you that method to be able to do it. And literally, as I said, I hadn't wrote my book in 27 years, Heather.
Mm.
I
Mm.
and I'm talking about my children's book. But
Yeah.
then I have the other book that goes with my coaching program, and that was 20 years. I started writing that in 2001, and life lifed me and put it away and put it away and put it away, and life just kept
Yes.
life in me. And
Mm-mm.
went through a whole lot of stuff. My sister passed, and I was dealing with that. Went through a divorce, I was dealing with that. Raising children, dealing with that. My job was terminated because and it was ironic. I was in a traditional public school system. My job was terminated, and then because of charter schools, popping up in the area, enrollment decreased. And then I got a job as an administrator in a charter school. So it kind of came through. So life just lifed me, and I didn't get it done.
Yeah.
But I set out last year during COVID and did a serious deep dive into myself. And I spent 90 days in a cocoon. And
Mm.
that's my goal for other people, to show them how to, in 90 days, master some things that you've never mastered. And literally, I have a curriculum, I have the book, I have so many things, my coaching program, like everything. I was able to do so much in 90-day chunks. And
Yes.
this past 90 days, I have my third baby published. So I have 3 published books.
Oh,
Thank you, Keisha.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have 3
I'm
published
telling you,
books.
the two
So
of you
I'm
need to.
passionate about writing.
Yes, the two of you need to link up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Keisha works with youth as well, and helping them write books. So, y'all, I think I found a pair. Yes, 90-day cocoon. Do you remember that moment where you were like, okay, I've been sitting on this
Mm,
for so long. I need to be in action. Do you remember when that moment
yeah.
was for you, and what was that catalyst
Yeah,
to move you
it was
forward?
again, it was, I was doing a pivot.
Mhm.
So I retired in 2019 as a school administrator. And I started my publishing company. And at that time I was just like, I'm doing my children's books.
Hold
And
on, hold on, hold on. You just threw out that
yeah.
I just started a publishing. You, what's the name of the publishing company? How you
My
just gonna
publishing
throw that
company
out
is
there?
Ubuntu. It's an African word, Ubuntu, Ubuntu Press, and it means I am because we are. And so I started it to really put a face on Afrocentric curriculum, uh, and to understand the historical context of why we do, why some of the stuff has been neglected. And so we do lesser known characters or lesser known topics. So my
Mm,
first book, Panther in the Sky, is about the Black Panther Party free breakfast program. And so the character in the book actually is my daughter. She's the main character in the book. And at the time I wrote the book, I had just birthed her. And
mm.
so it was amazing. She got a chance to see it as an adult rather than a kid, because it took me 27 years. But I got it done. I did get it done. And so the second book is called Purple Heart Highway. And that's about yeah, that's my baby. I call them my babies. So
They
the
are.
second one is a Purple Heart Highway, and it's a book about the Purple Heart. And I talk about in there, especially at the end of the book, notes on African Americans in all of the wars and in all of the armed services that, again, many of them do not get credit for.
Mm.
So, yeah, so I started that, and that kind of
No.
sent me into, okay, let's get some things accomplished. So you know how when you get something done, you like, oh, I did it. So
Yeah.
then you think you can do everything else too, and that's
Yes.
what I did. So yep,
Look at
that's
this.
my other baby.
Look at this.
And I actually wrote and illustrated that one. And I did that one. I illustrated myself because I wanted to have a book where young people can see, you know, just do and be you and just let it happen. So that one I really try to get into schools, because that one teaches some
Mm.
very particular language art skills.
Oh, this is so beautiful. This is
So the
so
character in
beautiful.
that book is my grandson Carter. And so I asked him about the book. At the time when I wrote the book, he was first grade. He's
Mhm.
going to third grade now, right? And so I said, Carter, you like the book? He said, I like the book, but I don't like the part where I took the Purple Heart, because he's like, I wouldn't do that. So the character takes the Purple Heart because he's intrigued with it. Carter takes
Mhm.
it to school and it gets misplaced.
Mm. He was like, I would never.
He said, I would never do that. So I was
That's
like, it's not a
adorable.
true story, Carter. He was like, I don't like that part, Mimi. So yes, yes, yes. But definitely, I would say that that was a trigger because I had success and I
Yeah.
got it done.
Yeah.
Then I went to book number 3. And so in a year and a half, I was able to publish literally 3 books.
Mm. And
So
book number 3 is we're not you see you were trying to
I'm
skate
trying to be gracious.
over. You
Book
can be
number
gracious
3.
and still be truthful in what you have accomplished. We do
Yeah,
that a lot. Like we
yeah,
just
we do.
I
You're
do it
right.
too. I
You're
do.
right.
Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. I Jackie called me out. I had Jackie, one of our accountability partners, with us 2 weeks ago, and she called me out on some stuff. I was like, "You're right. Yep. This is why we have each other." So
Yep.
is this the third?
That
Is
is the third book, Powerful Growing You and Unlock Your
this?
Purpose. And that one, I have 7 power pillars, and I teach
Hmm.
people how to use those 7 power pillars in your life. And again, to do some major accomplishments. Now, the great thing about buying that book is on the front cover, there's a little website. If you go to the website, you get a $397 free program. Free.
Oh, hold on. Time out. Free 99.
Free 99.
And what is
Free
this
99.
program?
It's called Growing You. And again, it helps them with the 7 power pillars, starting at purpose and ending with professional development or
Mm.
personal development, and how important each of those are. And so I share, again, how to use that. In addition, they get a free complimentary disc assessment. And again, in the it's an online at home module that they 3-part video series, and it walks you through that so that they could learn how to maximize their behavior preference.
Mm.
Because when I did that, and see, that's the point. So you asked that, Heather. So that's what got me moving.
Yeah.
See, I'm a I type personality. We call it the flight attendant. So as a flight attendant, think about that flight attendant. Flight attendant, you get on that plane, they're all about you and making sure they serve you. Well, I like to serve people. I'm also, as a flight attendant, you have these big visions and these goals, and you're just like, yes, you're very optimistic. That
Yes.
is me.
Yeah.
Gregarious. Hey, bring it. But on the flip side of that, my kryptonite is procrastination, or let me say,
Mm.
was, until I understood. Because I used to get mad at myself when I wouldn't get stuff accomplished. And
Yeah.
then once I really, really sat down, I became a certified disc consultant. And I really, like I say, I put myself in a cocoon for 90 days. And I worked on Brigitte. And Brigitte came out that cocoon. Well, you love this because you love flying.
Yes.
Butterfly, flying. I was able to fly and to absolutely soar because I knew what my behavior preferences were and what I needed to do
Mm.
and accomplish. And so that disc assessment is just a tool, but if you know how to work the tool, then
Yes.
you know how to work your life and get some really great things accomplished. And that's what I was able to do. And that's what I help other people do. And so I'm loving it. I have the best of both worlds. I still get to teach, but right now I'm working with adults instead of students, but I still get to teach and I still get to be a leader. And so
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely
Oh.
love it.
Oh. Well, if you all are following all the books and all the things that are happening, you might see my hair moving around. That's because I needed to make sure that I put the link to Bridget's book, Powerful, in the chat so y'all can make sure to support her and what she is doing. And the free 99, the free 99 with the value of the extra is everything. So thank you. Just I'm in awe of you every single time. Like I literally learn something new about you
Well, I'm gonna
every
do a
single
poem.
time.
Birds of a feather flock together.
You know, y'all catch that?
Birds of
Hummingbirds. Um, so how do you stay in creative joy? Like what are the things that you do that you can pass on to others?
I stay in creative joy because I think because Heather, I'm always learning, number one. And number two,
Mm,
I stay around other creatives. So like
mm-hmm,
you inspire me. You know, when I come in your presence and your poetic rhythm about you and about your life is just amazing. And
mm,
so if I want that creativity, I stay in that. Actually, I just did a workshop for some students this past week, and it was amazing because I hadn't been out my house. So it was just really, really great. Okay, Keisha, I got you. Just call me. Like seriously. Because we need more of those. We really do need more of those. So Keisha,
yes.
yes. Um, but I go and seek stuff. And so I was telling students, and they were like, well, how do you do this? And how do you write? I said, you know what I do? I go to the bookstore, which actually I just did that last week. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on another book. Actually, you're one of my authors in the book anthology. Hey, we're doing a Hope Ignited, an anthology of a group of women, and we all have stories of hope. And I wanted some inspiration because I'm trying to finish up my chapter. So you know what I did? I went to Barnes and Noble. I plopped myself down because they didn't have no chairs and stuff like that. So I just plopped myself up. I'm gonna make me a chair. And I sat there and I just looked through books. Then I left
Mm,
there and I went to the library and I sat in the library and I just read and I just watched and I looked at the colors and I just so I go to get inspiration from without
yes.
sometimes too. I
Yeah.
have a lot of that internally, but sometimes I want to see what are other people doing because sometimes I could be stuck in my own way. And it's like, okay, let's look at some different ways. Let's look at some
Yes.
different, like I said, genres. Let's look at some different people, some different styles. Cause I like my type of people and I like my stuff, but I had to go look at some other stuff. So I get inspiration from without and within.
Yes, I love that. And I love it's so important that when you are maybe stuck or like you said looking for that inspiration, being able to read. Reading allows us and puts us in different spaces that then activates our own imagination so that we can then put words to paper.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that you're like, you don't have chairs? Fine, I'm gonna make my I just see you just on like, I'm gonna plop and I'm gonna have my book and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna read and I'm gonna find the inspiration that I need until I need it. Um, that is so good. And then being around the community is
Mhm.
so huge. Like
Mhm.
trying to be creative, trying to be anything on your own is unrealistic. Needing
Oh,
to
yeah.
have that place where you can amplify the creativity within you through community is so important.
Yeah, I was
So important.
actually I'm in multiple communities that you said that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
do. I make sure that I'm around other like-minded people. That
Mm-hmm.
helps me with my creativity too. Because when
Yeah.
I'm stuck, they'll push me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I say, I quit, okay, I'm not doing this.
Psych.
That's not even a word, you know. So
I'm gonna pull you
yep,
right
pull
back
me in.
in. Yes.
You gotta have
Holding.
you have to have good partners, you know. You
Yes.
need to have people that are going to challenge you. Actually, I think I said this, I don't know if it was to Jackie I was saying this to the other day, but iron, you know, I like to quote. I'm a minister, so I like to quote the scripture, iron sharpeneth iron, right? So does the continence of a friend. In other words, people you
Mhm.
hang together, you know, they make you better, right? But when you have two irons that are
Mhm.
sharpening each other. Guess what else is happening? Friction.
Barks.
Yep. Sparks flying. You know,
Yes.
it's getting hot. It's
Mhm.
heated. Again, and look, I'm doing this right now, and my hands are
And
getting hot.
then you
So,
literally, if you
you,
just
exactly.
your hands start
You know,
warming up, you start
mhm.
feeling it.
But that's what you need. You don't
Yes.
always need the warm and the fuzzy. You need those people that are going to push you too. So, who's going to push you past
Mhm.
where you thought you can go?
Yes.
We have to take the
Yes.
limits off. And sometimes we won't do it on our own. But if
Mhm.
other people push us, you're like, I didn't even know I could do that.
Yes.
Yep, you
Because
could.
you always you're your own worst critic
Yep.
as an individual. You are your own worst critic, and people have a tendency to see more in you sometimes than you see in yourself.
Yeah.
And so being able to point those things out and, like you said, push you to who you know they can be, it's everything. I'm so grateful for you. I have moments where I'll like wake up, and we're now meeting on Wednesdays, and I look forward to my Wednesdays. I look forward to checking in with you. I look forward to building with you all.
Yeah.
There's just so much that is there that I know I'm not alone in this journey as we are
Not
coming
at
up with so
all.
many different things. It's so beautiful, and I'm so
It is.
grateful for
It
you
is.
all.
So again, like you said there, Heather, I would admonish people who are listening, make sure you have a good team. You
Yes.
cannot do this alone. There's an old African proverb that says if you want to go uh fast, go alone. But if you want to go further and
Mm,
fast,
go
you
together.
want to go together. So
Yes.
make sure you have good people in your corner that's going to help you get to that place
Mm,
further,
mm.
further, the distance.
And we're gonna just pile right on top of this because this is a really
Okay.
great segue. So thinking about all of the work that you do with the disc assessment,
Uh-huh.
I'm really curious for folks out there who might be like, oh, that's not for me, right? What are the benefits of learning about your disc results while you're a creative? And I'm thinking about this from the perspective of like as you're building your team, as you're building the people around you. Like talk a little bit about how the disc assessment actually benefits creatives.
It is definitely beneficial because again, as a creative, you might be more on the feeling side, you know, rather than on the logical side. So when we teach about that, we teach about you got, two types of people. You got your thinkers and you have your feelers,
Mm-hmm.
and so, if you're a feeler, do you need to make sure you got some thinkers in your camp. If you're a
Yes.
thinker, you need to make sure you have some fillers in your camp. And how can you tell that? Well, when you take the assessment, you get a chance to be able to see. And actually, our assessment is very beautiful. Look, it's color coded, and you get this chart, but you get to see where you're at, and you get to see
Mm-hmm.
all these
Where
what
is
your
my
strengths are, but then you also get to see what your constraints are, and then you
yes.
get to see not to work on those constraints. Well, as a creative, and as you're trying to build teams, and as you're trying to do things, you want to make sure you're marrying really well. And so
Yeah.
when you know who you are, then you can start looking around and knowing other people. So one of the things that I do with my clients is I don't just teach them to teach them about themselves. I teach them
Mm-hmm.
about the disc to be able to use it as a tool that you start understanding not just yourself, but other people. When I
Mm-hmm.
start understanding other people and I start understanding there's a language and there's some common words, and we start understanding the common words, then I can be able to go in and out among people and to really, really understand that. So for instance, for me, I'm very much a people person. So again, like I
Mm-hmm.
say, I would be called the flight attendant. So I'm I'm very interactive. Well, I'm just gonna be real, and I'm not trying to step on nobody's toes or offend anybody. But my nemesis was the D type personality or the decisive, because as a leader, especially a school leader, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of some of my bosses were trying to push me to be that way, and that wasn't me. I don't lead people in a very demanding way. Or, and again, there's nothing wrong with that, because I have some very good friends that are D's, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I understand it better now, but I didn't before. And so I clashed heads with sometimes um staff that were high D's, and and again, other leaders that were high D's,
Yes.
because I didn't understand their language. And when you understand that language, and again, that's a part of that creative part, you understand that language, then now I can communicate a lot better.
Mm.
Or right now, you know, stabilizing type people, those grounds crew people,
Yes.
they irk me sometimes. And I had to work on that. I'm just being
I
real
saw it in
transparent.
your body language. You were like, ooh, they
They do. It's like because I'm moving a mile a minute. And
yeah.
so I have to learn how to slow myself down. So this is the piece that they can understand with this. One, you start understanding yourself better,
Yeah.
especially if you're I type personality. And many people, again, if you create stuff, you might be an I. So if you're I, you got to understand those other three. And
Mhm.
so understanding that is going to help you. And so when people move a little slower, I'm like, can you move faster? Let's go. We have a lot of businesses. So my husband and I, my family, my children, in air quotes, uh, look, I do all the work. They just try to do this, get to credit. We have a catering business, right? So we had an event and we have a photo booth. And so we had an event this weekend, right? And I'm moving because I want them to have a good experience. And so I help my husband. He does all the, cooking. And so I do the designs. I laid the table out. The photo booth over there, I'm trying to make sure everything, the hats, all of the props are looking nice and everything
The
because I want them to
experience.
have a great experience, right? But I'm rushing and I'm moving. And I did. I found myself, I almost tripped over a cord. I was like, Bridget, slow down. Because
Mm.
eyes move fast.
Yeah.
D's move fast. C's and S's move slow. And
Yeah.
so when we understand each other, as you just said, now we get to understand our language and we get to appreciate each other more. So
Yeah.
that's the piece too. If
Yes.
I'm a creative, then I need to understand those that are non-creative, you
Mhm,
know.
and how you work together, how do
Yeah.
you communicate? There's a whole section when you get your results about the best ways to communicate with you, because
Yeah.
sometimes there might be misunderstandings, but you don't necessarily know how to let the other person know why there's how and why there is a miss. There's
Yeah.
language to
Yeah.
associate with that miscommunication. So, oh, it's
And
so good.
people, you said that miscommunication. See, people might take it as it's malicious,
Yeah.
you know, and or take it offensively, and it has
Mhm.
nothing to do with you. And when
Mhm.
I understand that these, they weren't trying to do anything to me. It wasn't malicious. It's their behavior preference and how they particularly behave. And so if that's the preference, then I need to understand it. Now it does come a point where you might have to do some negotiation, but then
Yes.
to understand that language you
Mm.
just said, that's so very, very important.
So important, so important. Well, thank you for breaking that down, because I think that's really
Oh,
important
I
for
could talk about that. I love
all.
that.
And I could listen all day. I'd be like, keep going. I will nerd out on assessments, and one of the reasons why I love assessments, my first real introduction to an assessment was the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator,
Yeah.
and I'm an INFJ, and that was my first time in grad school learning about who I was and having language for it, because I always had these feelings, but I was like the oddball in the room because we're
Yeah.
less than like 1 or 2% of the entire country.
Yeah.
And so when we're in rooms, we're usually the only one. And so having that feeling of being the only one, if you've ever been one, it's not always the best
Yeah.
feeling. And you're like, well, why am I the only person thinking that way? Maybe I'm wrong, even though it's just a difference in the way that you think. I now had language to explain to people why things didn't make sense to me, or why I was thinking a certain way, or how I might have been contradictory in that moment because I'm trying to find the best answer.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in assessments and
I
just
did.
giving you language.
Myers-Briggs was my first one too. Yeah,
Which
and
what
I
are
was
you?
really intrigued. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your results?
What you just said, I'm same as you.
You're an INFJ?
Mhm.
Oh, I found my people.
Yeah. I know. You said we need to go around the room and
Go around the world. Right, right. Type in your Myers-Briggs type assessment if you know it and see what it is.
yes.
So thinking about, you were talking about how you supported so many others,
Mhm.
specifically young people, while working in schools in the arts. Were you supported as a child in the arts? What did that look like for you?
I was not. I was not. And so that's
Mm,
why I have such a passion for it. I remember, and I'm gonna date myself, y'all. So I'm gonna go all the way back. I always wanted to be a writer. Like from
mhm,
like you just said, from I remember as a little kid, just I wanted to write. I wanted to write. And I was about 10 years old, and I used to come home. Good Times was on back then.
mm,
And I would come home and watch the episode, and then I would take paper and rewrite me an episode.
ooh,
Like I really wanted to write,
mm,
but I did not have that cultivated.
yeah,
Unfortunately, um, my grandmother was raising me. And so my grandmother really was old enough to be my great grandmother.
Yeah.
She had a set of my grandmother had 18 children. She was my shero. So she's in that book. When you open up the cover, she's the one I dedicated that book to. She's in one of the chapters that I talk about because my grandmother was my ride or die. Yes. I learned fortitude from her. And, she was older raising me and my sister. And, she did everything. She did all of that stuff and everything. But that was not one of the times, which I hated because I did learn a lot of writing from her. So she was very poetic. She wrote all the time. She was a mother in the church. And so she spoke. And when I say she spoke, my grandmother was real laid back. But if she got up and started talking, you're like, where'd that come from? Because she just wasn't like outside of church a big old speaker. But if she got in there, oh my God, and very poetic. I remember just poems that she would write out, and she had like mini sermons, but it wasn't like back in the day. Again, she was before her time. It was like what they do now, the sermonic ones, like you could visualize it and see it. I mean, very colorful, very visual. So very, 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 very talented and skilled. My uncles, a lot of my family, very, very artistic, even with, the drawing part or with their with their thinking process. I just had a lot of talent in my family. But so they were doing it, but not hands-on with me.
Yeah.
So I got to see it. I got to emulate them, but it wasn't. And so I wanted, as I got older, okay, let's make this intentional for children and not them doing it by osmosis, if you will.
Ooh, I'm imagining these poetic sermons, and it literally, I was transcended.
My grandmother was fire.
Transcended me to a place I wasn't even there, but I felt like I was there just thinking about what that could potentially look like. Whoo, I had to pull myself back.
She would get up and she would do it so rhythmically and everything. And it was funny because, again, if you see my grandma beat the tambourine or you see my grandma clap her hands, she was not rhythmic. But when she would open her mouth, like literally, she had one, when the devil goes to church. And when the devil goes to church, he's always on time. And I mean, the patterns and the words and the inflection and I was just like, this is my grandmama. When we come home, she was really, really gifted. And so one of them she wrote down, and when she passed away, I have it. And I was just like, one of these days, I said, I gotta get it. I want to get it redone. Somebody to do it in really, really nice graphic and everything. But she was just phenomenal. So I had people to emulate. And my mother, of course, my mother was alive. So I wasn't with my grandmother because my mother is still living. She's still living now. She's again in the book. She's been my editor. She didn't edit that book for me, but she is my unofficial, unpaid editor, English teacher, but very creative. My mother can outright the highest PhD professor at the top colleges.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I got the creative.
Goes in your blood.
Yeah, it does. It comes in my blood.
Yes. So I know that you have some things cooking in your kitchen.
Yeah.
So can you share with the hummingbirds, what do you have planned for 2021?
Wait. So, like I said, got another book coming out. That book is coming out in September. So really, really excited about that because, like I said, once you get momentum, people don't understand. It will keep on going. Physics is real, right?
Yes.
The law of physics says an object in motion will stay in motion unless it's interrupted. Okay. Excuse my pet train if y'all can hear it in the background. It's like a dog in the backyard. Can you be quiet? Yeah. It always does in opportune times. But so I have that going on. So I'm really excited about that. I have this virtual summit at the end of the month. My girl, Byrd Roberts, is one of my speakers, and she's going to be talking about creativity. Yes. So we're excited about that. That's July 31st. from noon to 4 p.m. This is a free summit. So if you're listening, we'll put the stuff in the links so that you can register. It is going to be a great opportunity. And then September 17th, 18th, and 19th, I have my women's conference, my annual women's conference. And we're going to be talking about the body, the soul, and the spirit. So day
Mm.
one is the body, day two is the soul, and day three is spirit. And so we're going to be really excited about that and just helping people. That's my goal. My goal is to reach as many people to help them as possible to change their behavior one day at a time.
Yes, yes. And you're doing such a beautiful job in everything that you do. And the opportunities that you are providing for other folks to come and be at the table with you so that we are, like you said, collectively being able to move together with force. It's just, I thank you so much for everything. I'm so grateful that I met you. Y'all, real quick, before we hop into our rapid flight session, um, how I met Brigitte. I'm just now realizing this. This was nothing but the universe coming to me and saying, you need this woman in your life. So we're at this like 5-day free summit that we were attending. And there was a moment where Lisa Nichols put something in the chat. If you need accountability partner, if you need something, I, type it in the chat. And I was having a moment where I was not okay. Like I was at a low moment in 2020, and I don't know what possessed me to put this in the chat with a bunch of strangers. But Bridget saw me and respond, because usually there's like 500 plus people in this chat, and when you
Yep.
start going, the chat is moving and you can't keep up. Some kind of way, Bridget saw my message,
Yep.
said, here is my name, here is my number, call me.
I got you.
And
Sure
then we
did.
needed to pull together accountability partners for this program that we both signed up for.
Yes.
And then ended up being accountability partners and then grabbing on to 2 other people. So, like, when I say the universe was looking out for me in that moment, for you to just see that message out of all the other messages that flew past me, and I know flew past you, you sent me a direct message and said,
I did.
here's my name, here's my number, call me. And I
And
remember that moment. I wanted to start crying. Like I couldn't
mhm,
believe somebody had actually seen it, and not only seen it, responded. So
mhm.
I thank you so much for seeing me. And this is why I do the work that I do, because I want to be able to allow other folks to also be
Yeah.
seen, because I know what that feeling
Yeah.
is too. So,
But I have to thank Eric Thomas for that, because again, he changed my life and gave me a tool to be able to help others. And I knew that this tool would help you,
mm,
get from that place, because I was in that place when I
yeah,
stumbled across ET. I wasn't planning on doing this. I
yeah,
have my consulting business, but I wasn't trying to do coaching. And I promise you, it was like I stumbled upon it. I was like, okay. And I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at now. So
yeah,
yes, I did. I saw you because, I knew that this was value add to you. And now you've added to me like
mm,
multiple times. So I've gotten back what I poured in. And that's the great part, I guess we can tell people.
yes,
Serve others. Because
yes,
when you serve others, I promise you, you're gonna get tenfold, 100-fold back.
yes, definitely, definitely. So, all right. So before we close out, oof,
Okay.
I just got all the feels and I'm just like, I'm all warm inside. Um, so before we close out, I have this section called Rapid Flight. And so
Uh-huh.
what we'll be doing is I will be firing at you 7 different questions, and you're going to answer short and succinctly,
Okay.
the first thing that kind of comes to your mind. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, first question is, well, first statement is, I should say, creativity is, and then you finish the sentence.
Using your unique ability to show your inner talent.
Enter talent. Okay. Well, I'm going to let people sit with that one. Bet. All right. Next question. What is a piece of advice that has stuck with you over the years?
Oh, my first boss told me, I'm hiring you to replace me. And so
Yes.
that is how I have gone into every one of my positions. Whenever I hire, someone to be on my team, I
Mm.
tell them my goal is to pour into them everything that I have, even if it works me out of a job.
Ooh. Oh, somebody need to hear that because a lot. Oh, let me not. This is rapid flight. Oh, I just hear that. Hear it again.
We got to have an whole other
We
conversation
got to
on
have
that
a
one.
whole other conversation
Yeah.
about that one. Okay, finish this statement. Next, I am building.
Ooh, wee. I am building out my content to really do some amazing, amazing programs.
Mm. All right, y'all better stay tuned and make sure y'all follow Bridget so y'all can get all of the goodies. Um, Next question. What's a lesson that you've learned and had to relearn over and over again?
Stop procrastinating.
We just talked about this. And see what happens? You get a book.
Yeah.
Um, Next question. What's one thing you're really excited about right now?
I'm just excited about life,
Mm,
like being happy. COVID shut us down. So just be happy, you know, and love life because some
mm.
people didn't have it today.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
Whew. Next question. What are you deeply grateful for right now?
My husband, we just had a health scare and
Mm.
I haven't talked to you. Girl, he didn't have to have it. God did a miracle. No procedure. They went in and
Oh,
didn't
that's so
find
good.
nothing.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
I'm grateful for my husband. He's my Boaz. He's my ride or die. He's my
Mm.
everything.
Y'all need to make sure y'all stay and follow Bridget because she'll later, I'm sure, at some point talk about how they met and how beautiful that was and how she kind of manifested that into her life.
Hey.
So make sure y'all continue to follow Bridget so y'all can learn more about her and Habu. Last question, and this is one of the ones that a lot of people
Ooh,
get tripped on a little bit, but it's so
okay.
good, and I'll be posting links later on. What are the 5 books you could not live without?
Don't move by a train. No, I'm just kidding. um my favorites, the one thing it replaced, it used to be my was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was number one. But now One Thing by Gary Keller.
Oh, that's the
Uh
okay. It's called
yep,
One
it's called
Thing.
The One Thing. Yep. The One
Okay.
Thing by Gary Keller. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Les Brown's Are You Hungry? That's become
Mm.
one of my favorites. Tiny Habits by Dr. BJ
Yes.
Fogg. I absolutely love that book now. Oh gosh. I got so many. I'm looking over there. I'm like,
I think we got one more left. So I have One
oh.
Thing, Seven
The
Habits
book
of
that
Highly
really
Effective
changed
People,
my life, John Maxwell's 360-degree leader. I used to read that every year.
360-degree leader.
360-degree leader. Yep, it's for middle
Oh,
managers to show how to lead all around. Yeah.
okay. All right. So y'all, if you haven't read any of these books, make sure y'all grab one from this Bird Talk and see if that's something that you want to hold on to moving forward because you never know what kind of transformation it might have
I
for
should have been egocentric and said my book powerful.
I mean, we can pull that out one more time. I mean, it doesn't have to be. We already got the link in the chat. If y'all haven't purchased
Yeah.
Bridget's book, Powerful, make sure y'all check this out. We want to make sure that we are supporting um, anyone, but all the authors, not but period, all the authors that show up. You never know what something. Look at there's a pyramid that I just pulled up right now, talking about psychological needs. Like that, you just need to pick this book up. And if you have any kids at home, check out. Is it Ubuntu? Am I saying that correctly?
Ubuntu. Yep.
Yes,
Ubuntu
and
Press.
Ubuntu Press, and make sure that you are purchasing the other 2 books that Bridges has for your little ones. So if you're building a library or if you just want something to read at bedtime, make sure you check all of that information out. So Bridget, I don't know if you once we get off of here, what we can do is make sure people have the link for your summit so folks can register for that free summit and just get a little pick me up throughout the week. Um and people can follow you at Brigitte Brown Jackson on Facebook, Instagram, and Clubhouse. Is that
Yep. I'm Bridget Transforms on the other ones, and my website is that I put that at. That's my website actually, BridgetBrownJackson.com. Yep.
Okay. There we go. So BridgetBrownJackson.com. So y'all make sure to follow my girl Bridget. Do you have any last words for our guests?
No, I mean we really that rapid fire was fire. We got it there. I just want to say to you though, thank you, Heather, for being you and for showing up and again for being transparent enough. And that's the piece that I do. Here's the thing. Don't be so where I can't be transparent. That was another
Mm,
one of the life lessons that I learned. And that's from a book too, Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Leo
mm,
Lencioni. It's an incredible book. If you work with teams, you must get it in your hands. One of the things that he talks about though is being transparent. The first layer is trust. If we don't trust, we can't do anything else. And so
yes.
I'm glad that you were transparent enough to put in there because
Mm,
we might not have, we would have engaged throughout, but we wouldn't have met like we did to be upfront at the beginning part because
yeah.
we definitely would have talked. I would have gravitated to your personality once we got into the
Into the
coaching session.
program. Yeah.
But we got the opportunity to talk and to meet 60 days before we went into the program. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful of that. And so I thank you for your transparency. I thank you for this platform. I thank you for being a wonderful accountability partner for me because you have made me grow. Okay, I'm gonna do my square. Y'all have to know Heather does the hearts, and I was like, I can't do a heart. I make a square. We have so much fun, y'all. We
We
have
do.
so much fun on
We
our
do.
accountability calls.
It's so
She is really
good.
creative. I love you. I love you. I love
It's
you.
so good. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for pushing me. Thank you for seeing me. There's just so much here, and we have so much more to build, and I have so much more to learn from you. So I super appreciate you. Um, Last but not least, I just want to let folks know there is still time to register
Yeah.
for my online course. Bridget earlier was talking about how she has all these ideas in her mind, but one of the things that she struggles with is procrastination. Right? How do you make sure you don't go 27 years before you publish your book, you publish your blog, you get the information out there that you know is going to change lives? So I am launching my Learn to Fly, How to Rise in Your Creative Badassery in 6 week course. And what we will be focusing on is that mindset piece, right? How do we make sure that we're moving past that procrastination? How are we making sure that we have the strategies in place to move forward so that that's not holding us up? And then how do we make sure that we are executing at our highest ability so that the world has the ability to be able to see your glow, see you fly?
Mm.
This is honestly the space where you will understand what it means to be weightless and moving through your ideas and moving them into action. I am super excited about the course. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more, feel free to check out my website. It has all of the information that's on there. Or if you just want to learn some more and hop on a call with me, let's schedule a discovery call so we can learn a little bit more about how we can help each other. Bridget, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. I need to make sure that I am hooking you and Keisha up so you all can have some amazing things that you all are going to build together in the future. This is all about being able to connect. This is all about me making sure that we are being in our creative joy and we are building with one another. So, again, I am here to let folks know that I see you the way that Bridget saw me. I want you to know that you are not alone. You are officially in the hummingbird community. And I want to encourage you to make sure that you are continuing to explore, that you are continuing to create, and most of all, that you continue to fly. Until next time, y'all, I'll see y'all. Bye.